My uncle spent 11 years in a psychiatric facility in rural Ohio. Room 14, Building C. I visited him every month for the last 3 of those years, and every single time, he would say the same thing to me before I left. He would grab my wrist, not hard, just firm, and he would say, "They are still in the corner." I always told him there was nothing in the corner. I believed that. I'm not sure I do anymore. He was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia when he was 31. Auditory hallucinations, visual disturbances, the whole picture. His doctors were good people. They adjusted his medication twice a year, ran their assessments, documented everything carefully. On paper, he was a textbook case. A man whose brain misfired, a man who saw things that weren't there. The thing is, he was the calmest person I have ever known. Not medicated calm, not checked out calm, actually calm. He would describe what he saw the way you describe weather, flat, factual. There are 3 of them today. The tall one has been here since Tuesday. He never seemed afraid. He seemed tired, the way you get tired of something that just won't leave. I started reading about this 2 years after he passed, not grief reading, not looking for comfort. I was taking a physics course at the community college near my apartment, and the professor mentioned something called the observer effect. The idea that particles, actual physical matter, behave differently depending on whether or not they are being observed. They exist in multiple states at once until someone looks, until something registers them. I couldn't stop thinking about that. Because what if the issue isn't that some people see things that aren't there? What if the issue is that most of us just can't observe them? What if perception itself is the instrument, and some instruments are more sensitive than others? A radio tuned to a frequency the rest of us can't hear. Not broken, just different. I went back to Building C 8 months ago. The facility had been converted into apartments. Nice renovation, exposed brick, high ceilings. A young woman gave me a tour. Unit 14 was available. I stood in the doorway and looked at the corner where my uncle always pointed. I didn't see anything, but I stood there for maybe 4 minutes, and the woman with me got quiet in a way I noticed. She was looking at her clipboard, but she wasn't reading it. Her pen wasn't moving. I asked her if she was okay. She said yes. Of course, sorry, just tired. She laughed a little. We moved on. I called her 2 weeks later to ask a few questions about the unit. She answered on the second ring. I asked if she had been feeling all right since the showing. There was a long pause, long enough that I thought the call had dropped. Then she said, "How did you know something was wrong?" She told me she hadn't been sleeping well since that day. She kept waking up at 3:20 a.m. exactly and standing in the corner of her bedroom without knowing how she got there. She said the corner felt right somehow. She said she didn't know what that meant. I didn't tell her what room we had been standing in. I didn't tell her what my uncle used to say. I just listened. Here is what I keep coming back to. My uncle didn't get worse over time. He got more specific. The descriptions became more detailed every year. Not more frightened, more detailed. Like he was learning their habits, like he was starting to understand something the rest of us were missing entirely. His last coherent sentence, the last thing the nurses recorded him saying clearly was, "I think they've always been here. I think we're the ones who arrived. I've been sleeping with the light on since the woman from Building C called me. 3 nights ago, I woke up at 3:20, and I was standing in the corner of my room facing the wall. My hands were flat against the plaster. I don't remember getting up. I don't remember walking there. I just remember the corner feeling right. Follow if you want to hear more stories like this. I have too many."